Hi, Sid. This is Travis. How you doing today?
Hey Travis, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm looking at my notes here, and it says that you're a licensed agent, currently not buying leads, but clearly you booked on our ad and filled out our form because you either need more sales, more appointments, more time, or just more profitable. Does that sound right so far?
You nailed it on the head.
Great. Well, here's how we begin. First thing I need to do is kind of get to know you a little bit and understand what you've done before and what results that it got. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what exactly made you come in today?
Well, I've been following the structure that my IMO has provided, and they want me to purchase their leads. So I've done that. I've invested thousands into their leads, and I'm just not getting the results that I want.
Got it. What was your goal when you invested the thousands of dollars in their leads?
Well, of course, I think like anyone's goal, I just want to make my money back and then some, just make a profit, make a living. Definitely wanted to scale my business and hopefully invest more money to get more appointments and just have a starting place.
So why did you choose life insurance and this like in structure to go spend thousands of dollars to get leads to make sales in life insurance? Why did you do that?
Well, of course, there's always this um assumption that the life insurance industry just makes money. Of course, that this is one of the most profitable industries. And while I want to believe that, going into this, I'm having a hard time at least getting started. So, I'm just trying to get there, trying to see what everybody else is seeing in this industry.
When you heard other people making it big, what did that sound like to you? Like how profitable, how much money?
I mean, several hundreds of thousands of dollars, and just being able to retire early. And so it just seemed like people were living the good life pretty early on to getting into this industry. And really, I want financial freedom.
When you say living the good life early, does that mean 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 1 year? What does it mean retire early? Like what kind of time frame, what kind of age range does that mean to you?
Well, to me, I would say, comfortable age to retire would be like maybe 40. That way I still have some time to enjoy my money, travel, all that good stuff.
So since you're just 18 right now, you've got quite a bit of time till you hit 40, right?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Still 21. I get it. I totally So if we were to work with you and get you to retirement, like do you see retirement as having millions of dollars in earnings, or do you see it more passive income that just comes in passive? Like how do you see what freedom at 40 looks like for you?
Well, because I haven't necessarily gotten a taste of the big bucks yet, if anything, I would just like that passive income. But of course, ask anybody, and yeah, I'd be so down with making millions for sure.
So like if you actually made $2 million, would you know how to use it to fund your retirement? Like
Uh,
overnight, we actually was able to get you $2 million next year. Would you even know how to use it in a retirement way and not just
to
blow it?
Well, to be quite honest, probably not.
No, that's fair. Like it's just, if we do get you there, we also want to make sure that it did hit your financial freedom, but it also puts you at retirement, not at 40, but from 40 into the future. You know what the difference is?
I know. Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah. So if I can get you to retire at 40, and let's just say that we made you $2 million, and on average, you spend $100,000 a year, and you go, okay, well, I'm 40 years old. I spend $100,000 a year, and I've got $2 million in nest egg. You're like, okay, fine. So I've got 20 years basically, and I will be broke. I will be at zero.
Mhm.
So from 40 to 60, you can spend your $2 million, but at 60, you spent all your money. So even if we get you there, can we keep you there? That's my question.
Right. Okay, I'm understanding now.
So would the goal be to actually get you a nest egg or to get you passive?
Oh, of course, would want that passive income.
Okay. And on if you could just dream your wildest dream, you're 40 years old, how much money passively do you see coming in on a monthly basis? And you're like, wow, I'm at my freedom retirement.
Monthly basis. I'd say anywhere from 10 to 20 grand.
How did you come up with 10 to 20? How do you know that's the right number?
Just thinking about, bills and what I would need to be able to still live that lifestyle of traveling and financial freedom. It just seems like a comfortable number in there.
You got some places picked out in your mind where you're going to travel to?
Yeah, I've got a list going, but definitely would like to hit every state in the US for now, and then once we get that passive income, maybe start hitting those other countries.
Love it. Love it. So when we make you some money, what's the first brand new state that you're going to see as your first state after us working with us?
I think I've got to go with Montana. Got to go see that
And
Yellowstone.
why there? What is it about Montana that made that your first choice?
Well, Yellowstone and Wyoming out there, that area is just beautiful. I've never seen lands like that, at least out here in Texas. So
Are you going alone or are you bringing your family?
definitely bring my family.
When you set up your target goals, did it include how to pay for and afford for your family to join you in all this? That 10,000, 20,000 a month, does that also pay for them?
If I saved a little here and there, then yeah, certainly I can travel somewhere new, maybe every 5, 6 months, and be able to take them and pay for everything for the entire family. But right off the bat, off of 1 month's income, no, I don't think I'd be able to sustain that.
Okay. And just, if we're actually dreaming big, how many vacations a year would you do and take your family?
Mm, I'd say, I mean, the goal would be like one per month, but I know that's not probably ideal.
Why not?
Uh, just the number that I threw out for that monthly passive income.
Mhm. So it's a crazy thing, but 7 years ago I retired and I needed to figure out what my freedom number was. And my freedom number was 120,000 a year for me, blow money, like just mess around money. And then it
Mhm.
was $5,000 per person that needed to come join my life. Um,
Okay. Yeah,
So
that
it ended
seems.
up being like another 60,000 per person that wanted to come. So like if it's my wife, it's 180,000 for the two of us now. If it
Mhm.
wife and kids, then it's just plus 60 for every new person that needs to come do what I do. But I had to figure that out and solve it and get to the point. And I can tell you, using the system, I did 19 vacations in the first 6 months this past year and brought all of my friends and family with me. It's absolutely doable, but I'll share that with you in just a few minutes.
Okay, gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Why is like I've heard a lot of people explain what their goals are, but very few people tell me it's to travel the states, travel the country. Why is traveling so important to you in your vacation and your freedom?
Well, to be quite honest, before this industry, I went from working 6 to 7 days a week and not having that time to travel. And I think to me, that feels like a big part of my life that I missed out on, just because I spent so much time working. So definitely now it's a priority of mine.
When you do your working, is it remote or is it fixed in a location?
Remote.
It is remote, so you technically could have worked from any of those 50 states.
Mhm. Oh yeah, no, 100%. But not having the funds is the issue. So it's one or the other, but not both.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Already remote, just not enough money yet.
Yeah.
And so far, what you've actually tried, it sounds like, is one thing. You buy leads from your IMO, you trust those leads, and then when it comes in the form of a lead, um, what do you do with that lead? How do you receive the lead? How do you get it through the process from a lead to an appointment, from an appointment to a sale?
Hmm. Well, so with my MO in particular, they offer, of course, different stages of the lead and how many times it's been worked, how old the lead is, and what type of lead. And um, you know, they've kind of guided us to where mortgage protection gives you the most time to dial those leads and to set those appointments and be more flexible with your time and stuff. So that's kind of the route that I've gone. And so they have a plan of metrics. And so they say, okay, if you buy 10 leads or so, then you should be able to get one contact and or they'll say three contacts and one appointment out of those 10 leads. And those are like fairly new leads, right? But I've noticed, especially after purchasing 500 leads from them, that's just not the case. It's false hope. I felt being told, hey, it's just a numbers game, just buy more leads, just make more dials, make more contacts, and the appointments will come. And it's just not that. It seems like a lot of people have maybe been either misled by their process of lead sourcing, or maybe um, it just seems like they're just not interested anymore. Maybe they're not even picking up. It's just the wrong time of day to call. It's just I'm not getting the luck, from the money that I've invested.
And it sounded like when those leads, like, so you buy 10 leads at a time or you buy 500 leads overall, it sounds like what you do next is actually call those leads yourself.
Right, yes.
How much time do you spend calling leads?
I probably I would say probably about 100 dials a day. It would take me maybe 6, 7 hours.
So you have 10 leads but you call them 100 times?
It could be working the fresh leads as well as following up with leads that maybe didn't answer before. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's also using some recycled leads there.
So if you're in Montana and your family's out there with you and you just get a fresh batch of 100 leads, your day in Montana is 7 to 8 hours calling that 100 leads that you just freshly bought.
Oh
Is
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, that's a vacation wasted for sure. But yep, that's what my day would look like if I did go to Montana.
So if we actually called all 100 leads for you and got it down to just 5 or 6 booked appointments that are 30 minutes to an hour, would you rather have a day where those appointments call you and you just pick up the phone and accept the appointment and not never have to spend 7 to 8 hours calling 100 leads every day?
Yeah, that would definitely be more ideal and preferred.
And even if you are on vacation, how many appointments would you how many appointments would you want even if you're on vacation?
Probably even less than that. That way I can enjoy my day out, maybe 3 or 4 appointments just to make some money to spend would be great.
So our system is really cool in the fact that if you book out your vacations and you like update it in your calendar, like I'm busy at this time, I'm not available, then no appointments would even get through. But if you did leave your calendar open for, let's just say, 2 hours a day, and somebody really, really, really wanted an appointment with you, they would only be able to call you for like 1 or 2 of those hours. How would
Okay,
that?
that's really cool.
I'm sorry, one more time.
I was just saying, that's really cool. I think that that's a great concept. I would just like some more freedom in my schedule to be able to plan, my little outings and vacation time.
Would it be okay if I just called you Sid, the Freedom Monster?
Sid the Freedom Monster, that has a ring to it, yeah.
That you really, really, really just want freedom more than anything. So that's my next meeting coming up. All right, so in my mind, like your dream really is getting you to freedom. Freedom means having enough money to afford the lifestyle and having enough time to enjoy it.
Spot on.
Right. And what's getting in your way right now is getting their leads, dialing 100 times, 7, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and not getting the sales. So you're spending too much time dialing and not enough time selling. And even if you do get to sales, you're still not making enough.
Right.
How long have you done this?
Since February.
All right, February to October. That sounds a lot like 8 months.
Right.
How do you feel about your results, your first 8 months?
I mean, to be quite honest, I'm not pleased with it. And it's taken everything in me to not just leave this and get a 9 to 5.
Well, obviously, my only question is, why are you still trying to do this?
Because I do see some value in it. I do see the potential with obviously the right tools and resources.
So even though it hasn't worked for you yet, You still know that it worked for other people.
Right, right. Just seeing that success and other people seeing those leaderboards makes me see that it is possible for sure.
Leaderboards. Tell me about leaderboards.
Just, well, what do you want to know?
Like, what's a leaderboard? How do you get your name on it?
Oh, well, for sure, making top sells or even just your wins. But, you know, people just closing those applications.
Do you like, is it your goal to be on the leaderboard or to be at the top of the leaderboard?
Well, I mean, for sure, I'd love to be on top of the leaderboard, but even just to make it to the leaderboard would be great.
What does it look like to get on top of that leaderboard? Like, I don't know what a leaderboard is, so you gotta kind of like walk me through that.
Sure, it's just,
Oh,
making thousands per day.
so in my mind, if I can replace your schedule with no more dialing days, more sale days. On those sale days, you don't spend as much time selling, a little bit less time, but still make the thousands of dollars needed to not only get on the leaderboard, but to get up to the top of the leaderboard. You'll still be able to do it remote. You'll still be able to do it on vacation. And as long as we're getting you a little more than $120,000 a year, you could even start your vacationing and maybe, a couple of family trips, even this first year.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Have you tried anything else before you reached out to us?
Um, I did try some other lead sources that claim to have pre-qualifications and real-time transfers, and that still was not working out that great.
What does that mean? Like, who'd you try? What was the result?
I tried Razor Ridge, I've tried Lighthouse, and in my experience, they charge me, $500 for 10 leads and promise that these are pre-qualified and real-time leads. And to be quite honest, they're not as great as they make them seem. It's just I noticed I was able to reach out to 5 of those 10. At least this is for Razor Ridge. Of those 5, I got people with congestive heart failure, felonies, uh, cancer, making it extremely difficult to get a policy that they want. So, or even in the instance of felonies, just not being able to insure them. So these were most certainly not pre-qualified leads.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. So they were leads, but they weren't leads to sell the type of policy that you write for them.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think,
It'd been
I
great
think
fits for maybe final expense, but not for the policy that you want.
maybe so, but those particular leads were certainly not vetted. It was more so pre-qualifying as in, oh, you do want coverage today, but it wasn't pre-qualifying the health concerns.
Exactly. So a solution to that would be if you got exclusive leads that were pre-qualified for the exact policy that you plan to write them. Already told me that your IMO kind of leans towards mortgage protection policy.
Right.
So what you would kind of look for is somebody that has a $400,000 house with a 30-year mortgage and then meets medical.
Well, sure, but to be quite honest, mortgage protection doesn't really pique my interest. I was more interested in like final expense and life leads. So are you able to do something with those?
Yeah, totally. No, I think I heard you say mortgage protection earlier.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So final expense would still work. In
Okay.
fact, we've got a few people that are doing $1 million a year on final expense strategies. And I can show you what they do and how they do it if you're interested in that.
At like $1 million year in APV or
Profit
in
in their pocket.
profit. Okay. Yeah, of course.
So I know a lot of people talk about how much they write. It's beautiful to talk about how much coverage you wrote for people, but at the end of the day, just talking to you and me, at the end of the day, it's about how much did you have to feed your family and go to
Mhm.
Montana with. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, that's really what we're solving for. And I love it if you were like, hey, I wrote, $1 billion worth of coverage for 600 families. And that is nice. And that is something to be, celebrated. But I also need just you and I to celebrate that I got you $120,000 while you were on vacation in Montana.
Right. I can agree with that.
Okay, so you've tried a few other people. It sounds like you normally spend somewhere around $500 at a time, and you've done that a few times back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, is that what you would say like your weekly budget normally is to get leads?
Um, you know, up to this point, I feel like just investing the 500 a week is not working for me. And I'd be willing to give it a solid shot of like 1,000 a week if I knew it worked.
Has anybody taken the time to show you how much value you get for like $1 spent or $100 or 500 or 1,000? Has anybody just walked through the math with you? Like how many leads it gets, how many responses it gets, how many scheduled, how many
Well, yeah, so we do have a metrics
Mhm.
and I do try to follow that. So if they say, hey, buy 10 digital life leads and you'll get this kind of outcome. I do look at that
Right.
and
So
try to
that was basically their 10 to 2.
right, right, yeah. And so, I
But
think
then
I'm
you've got to
maybe being
what
shown the wrong cards, but
right. So if you get 2 appointments, you've got to close 50% to do something with that, right? Like
yeah, I would say that.
scheduled appointments, are you going to sell both of those policies?
Right. The odds of that is very slim, but yeah, I do see where you're coming from.
Right. So you need 100 just to get like, enough attempts to make one sale.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
buying 10 at a time and getting 2 scheduled appointments, it sounds like there might be a better way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. So one of the things we'll do before we finish this is just go through that with you and show you exactly what it would look like to get you at least 3 strong appointments every day. And then on some days, let's aim for maybe closer to 5 or 6 appointments when you're not on vacation. Uh,
Okay.
but I would love it if we show you what it looks like to actually get a vacation a month, and even the week of vacation that you spend maybe still get you 2 to 3 appointments a day while on vacation, and then spend the other 21 hours um, with your family.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay. So here's exactly what we do. We have perfected the ability to get you all the appointments calling you on your phone that are ready for life insurance. And all you've got to do is accept the phone call, and whatever sales pitch that you have for them or presentation on Zoom or whatever that looks like, you just got to get to the close. So how we do it is super easy. We've mastered social media campaigns and build you a personal campaign that is specifically for Sydney Jackson. And those leads come in. We do all of the conversations with those leads to make sure that they are exactly who they say they are, that they're financially qualified, medically qualified, and that they have a need for you to write them a final expense and a budget of a minimum that you and I will agree upon at some point, so that their budget is in your limits and their medical is in your limits and their need is in your limits. So for you, the dream is this. You wake up in Montana Monday morning, and at 9 a.m., at 10 a.m., and 11 a.m., you get 3 phone calls. Those 3 phone calls are 3 people that need final expense. They all have $50 to $100 a month ready for final expense. And you either sell them $25,000, $35,000 or whatever you do. You close the sale right there. You close one sale that day and you make the money. You made $1,000 or whatever your commission is, and you go about your vacation. Do you want that life?
Yeah, absolutely. I want that life. Now my question would be, if you do this through social media, how is it any different from me doing it myself?
Yeah. It's not. You absolutely can do exactly what we're going to do for you. You can build a Facebook page and a Facebook group, and you can build a Facebook ads campaign, and you can learn exactly what picture works, and you can learn exactly what headline works, what description works, and what primary text works, what link to send it to, what website VSL to send it to, and what questions to ask them once you get them on board. You totally can do it. But I think you said to me something about you wanted your time back. If we did that for you and it was still more profitable than you are currently, you've got more money and more time. Is that still important?
Yeah, you've got a good point there.
So you totally can do it on your own. We just found out that in order for an agent to really get the life that they wanted, they would prefer us to do the back end work that they hate and them focus on the one thing that they want to do, sell life insurance. If I can get you there and it makes you your 120,000 a year, is that worth this meeting?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Now, do you have a guarantee that you can make me that?
Yep. So here's how our guarantee works. Facebook comes in and Facebook charges us whatever Facebook wants to charge us. We'll talk to you on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. We'll explain to you the 100 pictures, the 100 copies that we're experimenting with, how it worked for other people, why it's supposed to work for you. And in general, our cost per lead will be as good as any other cost per lead on Facebook. So here's what that looks like to you. If for any reason you were to go build a Facebook campaign and you got it to $30 a lead, and we built the same Facebook campaign and we got it to $30 per lead. Well, everybody that builds that campaign is going to get it for $30 per lead. Now, the only people that are going to get it cheaper than that are people that build a little bit better campaign. And the only way that you build a better campaign is if your target audience is so clear to Facebook that they know who to show the message to and who not to show the message to. And that just comes from years of practice building a target audience. How good are you at building your own target audiences?
Well, honestly, probably not as good as a professional for sure.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of the things that is going to make it a little bit cheaper for us, because we don't just build these for you. We build them for other life insurance agents that also need final expense. And we just see the market trend across all of our accounts and make sure that yours matches or exceeds um, all the current trends. So, like I said, on average, regardless of what the cost per lead is, it's the same cost per lead across everybody that's running the same ads. So
Okay.
nobody will beat us. At best, they'll match us. What
Mm.
we do that they can't do is when we get that lead coming in, we go through the process of contacting them, vetting them, qualifying them, getting them responsive, getting them engaged, and getting them to book an appointment on your calendar and show up to it ready for you to sell them final expense. So that's the one extra step that we do that's going to benefit you.
Yeah, for sure. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So for me to talk to you, I want you to see this picture. You're coming to me and you're saying, Travis, I've tried everything and nothing works. And I don't have a template. I don't have a model. The ones that I've used have got me nowhere. Invent for me something from scratch and let it get me at least $120,000 this next year, right out the gate, and let it get me to $240,000 in 2 years, and then more than that as time goes on. So the value of this meeting is at minimum getting you to your freedom goal, getting you back those 5 days a week, dialing 7 hours a day. So getting you back your 35 hours of no more dialing, trusting us to do all of your dialing for you, and you just sitting there waiting on the booked appointments. And then when those appointments come in, it's the right number of booked appointments for you to get to your $120,000. How
Mm-hmm.
much would you pay me if I could do that for you?
How much would I pay? Well, I mean, if I had thousands of dollars to throw into investment right now, of course I'd pay you what I could to get this scaled as fast as possible. But I mean, I don't think I can necessarily put a numeric value to it right now without knowing what your cost is.
Sure. So has anybody talked to you the difference between cost, price, and value?
Well, yes.
Okay. Walk me through what you think the difference between price, cost, and value is.
Okay. Cost would be what somebody deems their value is. Um, the price would be essentially, I would say the same thing, to be quite honest, and then value would be your worth.
Yeah. Here's a funny story about that. All right. So I knew somebody recently, and they said, I'm going to buy a car for $1,000. So the price of that car was $1,000. And they drove it for 6 months, and then they had to do a repair. So the repair cost them another $500. And then 2 years down the road, they did another $500 repair. Okay. So 2 years down the road, was the price of the car $1,000 or the cost of the car $2,000?
I see. I see. The price would be 2,000.
Well, the price was $1,000. They bought it, like they literally bought it the price for $1,000. But the cost, what it actually costed them,
The
was
accumulated.
$2,000 over
Gotcha.
the next 2 years.
I
So,
got-
so the cost is how, so the cost is what it actually costs them over the duration. Okay. So when they sold you $500 leads, their price was $500.
I see.
But they didn't explain to you what the cost was to you. It
Mhm.
cost you $500 and 40 hours of your personal time, because you spent that next week calling those $500 worth of people.
It's well said.
Okay. So what we're trying to do is make sure that our value to you is more than the cost, not the price. Fair?
That's fair for sure.
All right. So I am not even going to talk to you about a package that doesn't result in you having an additional 120,000 new dollars left over after the cost. Would you still be able to do that?
I definitely think that I'd be able to budget that for sure.
Okay. So what that would look like for us would be getting you to a weekly amount of this. And that weekly amount would get you your 30 booked appointments every week. And on average, it takes us about 5 weeks to build it out before you start seeing the appointments. So by the second week, these appointments will be calling your phone, scheduling an appointment and calling your phone for you to do it. Now, if I give you 30 appointments in 2 weeks and you make one sale, how much money would you have made?
Well, I mean, I guess it would depend on the cell, maybe on average about 1,500 a cell.
And if I give you 30 appointments in a week, how many of those you think you're actually going to sell?
Well, if they're pre-qualified and vetted, maybe about at least half of those.
Okay. So I'm not that good with math, Sydney. Tell me again, what do you think 10 appointments, 10 sales at $1,500 each would be to you in value?
15,000.
$15,000 in 2 weeks. What did you get in the last 6 months, 8 months?
Maybe about that.
Yeah. So if I told you that it's $3,000 down and $1,500 a week, would you do that for $15,000 a week in sales?
That might be something I can dish out.
That is value to cost. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we've got that kind of value for you. Because in my math, if I'm getting you $15,000 a week and I can do that all year long, we've hit your financial freedom goal. And if I'm getting you 30 booked appointments on a non-vacation week, and then you turn it down to one vacation a month to 1 or 2 appointments on some of those days, you're still going to have $200,000, $300,000 in sales and 100% of your time back. This one decision, Sydney, is going to get you to your financial freedom within the next month. Are you really ready for this?
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover?
Visa.
it went through. Look for a text message with a confirmation and an email from us with the onboarding sheet. And our team is going to look at the onboarding sheet and pre-build out the campaign with you. And then after about 5 days, 5 business days, they're going to contact you for the first time, schedule at a meeting with you, and go through your campaign, how to use the system, and just make sure that you have the ability to answer your phone and take the appointment. Does that sound fair?
Yep, that's fair.
Okay. Well, just look for that text, look for that email, and we'll see you in about 5 business days.
Okay.
Hey, before I leave, I want to make sure that you've got a way to contact me just in case you have any questions or ideas in the meantime. My number is this, my email is that, and my calendar is right here. No matter what, you can get me, and I generally respond within the same 12 hours. So anytime you need me, just give me about 12 hours and I'll get back to you.
All right, super helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Sid. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.